Time to call the workshop to order. This is a CROA board workshop, our first semi-official meeting of the month, so that we can discuss things that are going to be on the main meeting, unless we've got some things that need to be acted on in this meeting, which we're going to do. So let's call this meeting to order, and we're going to do a new thing. We're going to do the roll call. And do you want me to do it, or should they just say their names? All right, so let's start with Marco. Who are you, sir?
Marco Messia.
Good to know.
Downtown.
All right.
Katie Schultman.
Eric Beauregard.
Charles Richards. Don McDonald and?
Bill Long.
Hey, look at that.
So that would be a quorum, plus some. Was the meeting noticed?
It was.
Oh, that's good. Motion to adopt the agenda as we have it, or with any changes? Motion?
Make a motion.
Marco, Katie. Any changes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Go to public comments. Are there any public comments? Anybody want to comment on anything? Okay, we're good. No public comments. First action item, motion to terminate pro participation in CJC Celebration Committee Cost Sharing Agreement effective the end of 2026. Motion. So Charles, second. Marco, any discussion?
So once we issue this, then it goes to CJC, and Canoa's already given us, like, so they're on board with it.
So the letter that was drafted and sent out to the
Yeah.
board, Don will sign it, I'll send it to Noah, and CJC meets next week to discuss this.
Okay. And then we've effectively scaled back the services already, or start once we,
Effective.
once we.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what is the number? You know, is it 200,000, 210? Do we know it?
The top of my head, it was 3% impact to the budget.
Just so we know, for that was 180. Finance team on Monday,
180. 3% impact to the budget. They say 180. 180,000.
I thought we were,
They're still paying 47 into fund.
I thought we were scaling back services now, though.
We were being nice and waiting until this was official.
Okay.
There's
But
a
yeah.
partial scale back that they have agreed to if
Right.
this letter were to come, and then there's the full reduction to the
Right.
contracted scope at the end of the year and start the new year.
Okay. So,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? B, motion to terminate passive and active park contract with Exquisite effective June 20th, coinciding,
30th.
June 30th, I'm sorry. Coinciding with the approval of a 5-year joint passive and active park contract with Exquisite effective July 1st, 2026. Motion. So move second. Second, discussion.
was one of the loudest voices on this at the last meeting, so if I could just take a couple of minutes.
You may take as many minutes as you need. It's a workshop.
Yeah, so Jacob and I Jacob went through we went on a drive through the town areas just to kind of, we tried to make as many as we could, went through our village, went through our main village, went through main village, and just tried to get kind of a current state of the common areas of the parks and how things looked. And I was one at the lesson that wanted to put this out to market because I thought it was already going to be what I saw originally seemed like we maybe reached a point where we need to look at other vendors coming in, getting some different eyes on things. As I got some eyes myself on what's going on out here, I think generally we're doing better than I thought. But the one area to me that makes me a little bit uncomfortable with this, and I want to at least open it up for thoughts from the board, are the Bermuda parks. The Bermuda parks are really in very poor condition. And I don't know if that's a result of the contract. I think there is. I think there are some deficiencies there that I think we should talk about and strengthening that and upping it so that we can get it to the level that I think people expect. And I think that's reasonable. I really do. I think people should have a basic level of good looking fields and lawns. And so as I thought about this, I don't want to go through the efforts of changing landscapers. Maybe you get better, maybe you get worse, right? And Exquisite, I understand they have their faults. They're not, they're humans, but I think we can work with them. I really do. And so I changed my tune a little bit on this, so I think Bermuda is a scenario where we need to talk and ideate and come up with something.
Okay, and I think we're talking about really, here's the thing, back in the olden days, back when Debbie and I were on boards, back when Disney started this, the original plan was for all the Bermuda parks to be overseeded in the fall, because the Bermuda doesn't do well in the winter, right? It dies off, and then until you get the rains back, it looks like, I mean, I've lived next to the Hippodrome for 29 years. And even with the reseeding, sometimes it looked terrible in the dry season. But the reseeding did help. It was more money. And I think a board somewhere between the boards decided it wasn't worth the money. But the money is how much more to reseed in the fall, those
Based on
Bermudas.
numbers provided to us by Brian for all the Bermuda parks. Obviously, this excludes CCFC, because that's a different contract, $67,735 annually.
So that's out of $1 million contract.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's.
Yeah, and I think it's one of these, we saw this with CCFC, right? That the deficiency, and when I think you say Bermuda parks, it's not the actual park, it's literally the turf.
Correct, the
That's it.
grass
So that's
section.
the turf, so it's in the park.
Yeah.
And so I think that we're in a little bit of a boat, of we're kind of getting what to pay for on, we
Stop receiving.
yeah, we stopped reseeding, we stopped doing some of the fert and squirt stuff and all the other things that they do. And we just, it's how it looks. And so I think, to me, it's, if we see a deficiency and we want to look at it, I mean, I'm actually surprised that that's the number. I thought that was going to be the number per park. And then when it's the number for everything,
Yeah.
I think that.
And that's about a dozen parks, right?
Well, it's a lot, it's the square footage of turf is really what I think about it as, I mean, because some of these turf grass areas are not small when we look at it. It's not like a, little, tiny, 50 square feet of grass.
Why don't we do this? Why don't, since it's a workshop, we've got an action item that we can just move on without modifying. Why don't we put this reseed on the next meeting?
Or do you want to propose a contract amendment to just include this in?
Or can we do that now?
Does that solve though? So the reseeding is specifically with the winter. Are we right now, based on the scope of work? Because right now the fields don't look good.
This-
No,
This number includes annual application of humic acid, aeration,
Yes,
application
yeah,
of
okay.
land soil, overseeding with
For
ryegrass.
67,000.
Yeah, it includes aeration.
Ryegrass is only for the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the
I'm
winter.
talking a year round.
But this, it's.
The ryegrass then dies off and the Bermuda comes up through it.
But it's in, so that is almost word for word what they did at CCFC.
Exactly.
We just didn't have that.
We just didn't have that because we did the humic acid and we did it's the top dressing.
And it's made a difference.
It's in your CCFC contract now, and it's made a difference on the field.
Now, it's not going to affect us in 2026 summer, because in a few months, those fields are in a month. The minute the summer rains start, every year I watch it at Hippodrome. The minute the summer rains start, Hippodrome starts looking gorgeous.
Well, the Patron looks.
No, it looks terrible now. We haven't had the summer rain yet, so it still looks dead.
So to me, if with that amendment, I would rather just put the amendment in now. I mean, what does, from a budget perspective, that it puts us, because we're 40 something currently under. So that would put us 15 or 20 over.
That's the split we just got from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a split up, yes.
Already spending.
So are we okay with then amending the motion
Yeah.
to add in the 67 to the contract we're talking about? To add it in, just go ahead and put it in there so that starting in the fall, this is all gonna be the process. And so the second and the first and the second are okay with that?
Yes.
Any other discussion? I want to add one other thing. From a fiduciary standpoint, in terms of putting things out to bid, yes, we should. If there are problems with vendors, we should put things out to bid. But a great example of not putting things out to bid is the fact that we've had the same trash company for 28 years. Because they've done an exemplary job. They really have. They have been a great partner for the community. And Brian has been a good partner. Brian has been a good partner. So, and we have a 30-day out. So that gets rid of our fiduciary. Huh?
7.
7 a.m.
7 days,
It's a 7-day out?
7 day.
Oh, it's a 30-day out.
It's 7 days. We've never exercised it in 7 days. We've always done a 30, but.
Oh my God, we have a 7-day out?
It doesn't matter either way. I mean,
I know, yeah, it doesn't matter, but
Any other discussion?
no, I want to add on to what you said.
Please.
Because I think we went through it obviously with the grand management or grand manager's RFP, right? Like people wanted to put you all out to bid. And I think what you said is spot on, right? And if you can work with the vendor and if there's something that we can try to patch and we know all there are things that we can do better, let's talk about it, let's figure it out. I think in this instance, this was something that I didn't know.
Right, and you learned, you went, which is great, and we all should do more of that probably. I'm horribly guilty.
Because again, like, we don't want to go through the effort of an RFP. We don't know if there's going to be a better exquisite or a worse exquisite. We can work with this, we can figure it out, and let's try it, right? Let's see how it performs. Let's price it, let's go from there.
Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Don?
I struggled with this because we're talking a 5-year contract, 5 million plus for no bid count. On the face of it, I would say, no. But they are a good partner. They're a known entity and we lock in a price. Now, this budget cycle coming up is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Especially since we lost the cost sharing agreement, that's going to make it even tougher. So I'm okay moving forward, but I keep your feet to the fire. And thank you, Charles, for finding out about the weeding and the contractor. And we dug in. Good team for doing it. We got to call these vendors, calling them, and if they see stuff, we got to call it out. So
And that's on us. We need to do that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, any other comments?
I agree with everything Don just said.
Sorry, I can't hear you, Bill.
Say
I agree with everything Don Town just said.
Oh, and history has shown us too, that when we do have an issue, Brian comes to our meeting and he will work with us. And just with like the quality control manager that he's provided. And since then is when I started seeing residents feedback, like very positive to the community. And I feel like if there's something else similar, we can call him to the meeting and he'll work with us. And the best thing is, like, the reason why I think he's such a great partner is that position he didn't charge us for, and he's not charging us for it next year either, because it's not even in the new price. So it's like, if we have an issue, we have someone that will work with us and help amend it. And I think that's also what's important, aside from even the budget.
Plus, there's the specter of inflation that
Mhm.
is not.
No cost.
Uh-huh.
I think we can exclude contract ever, so I'm excited.
Oh, this will be great. All right, let's call the question. All those in favor of approving the contract with the changes where we add in the grass fixing so that the parks look better, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Number C, motion to approve Academy Road Service Area Investment Plan. Motion? Charles, second.
second,
Okay,
Second.
I thought you said Travis.
so I want to make sure, because we've seen some dialogue on this, and I apologize about this. This is not going into derivatives. This is not going into any speculative investments. This is just the normal. Right. Okay.
The C.
Safe stuff.
Okay.
It's insured.
Insured.
Okay.
Yes.
Because this service area would be originated.
Yes, I know.
So.
Yeah, no, it better be safe stuff because we have a responsibility to always go for safe stuff. We really do. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Final action item, motion to approve and ratify Artisan Park Service Area Reserve Fund expenditures as outlined in the packets. Motion? Second? Second, Katie. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Now we can go to just plain old discussion stuff. How about A, the motion this will be on the agenda if we approve this for the next meeting, to purchase a Victorian bench. One bench for $3,180. Let's talk about
Bench broke.
it. Okay. So do we all want a new bench?
yeah, these are all consent things. I only had 2 questions on the consent things. I don't know if we want to go.
You want to just go through yeah, let's do that. That's
I don't wanna-
great. That's efficient.
So the two, the motor one at North Village for this one, I thought we just did this. I thought we just replaced the motor.
At North Village? I don't think we did.
I don't think so. We have been
It wasn't, I
replacing
thought it was
some pumps.
related to the leak that was there.
I can double check. We have been replacing some pumps. This one I know was actually just already done to keep it full in operation. It would be a operating expense, if not classified.
Okay, that's fine. And then the only other one that I had the question with was the ADA chairlift. These, I assume the chairlifts themselves have a lifespan. Like, is it, at what point do you replace the whole chair?
It's something we're constantly looking at and looking into and looking at other style of chairlifts. The style of a lot of our community pools with the water shelf on them prevents us from doing any type of hydraulic pool lift, which is something we were looking at to prevent a lot of these high cost repairs for electric or battery operated pool lifts. And this is one, at this point, it was not, a full replacement wasn't deemed necessary. It was just a part or a motor replacement.
Okay. Those are the only ones that I.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns about the potential future consent items? Thank you all. This is going to be fun.
So the only question, just to think more from the things, are there other things potentially that are alongside these that may be coming, we can do at the same time? Like background lights or anything else for their scale or
All right, let's move on then to the actual discussion item, not the consent. Covenants and ARC appeals administrative meeting.
So you had a resident that challenged the $100 administrative fee that was imposed at the appeals meeting. We did some digging in your governing docs and in your approved resolutions over the years. We cannot find one that specifically calls this out. So we need to either stop doing the administrative fee, or this board needs to adopt a resolution that allows the imposition of that fee.
So
When did this go into effect?
I recall, I don't know when it actually happened, but I recall that it morphed into being called an administrative fee, but it technically never was. It was technically just a reduction in fines. That's all that it was. And we reduced it to the amount of whatever we were calling and, a staff time fee
So
equivalency.
you would waive the
So-
fine and charge the staff time.
And so it just was a new name for it, because I remember now in the old days, we would just say, yeah, you gotta pay for staff time.
Yeah, and so like if it's a $500 fine and it's $50 of staff time, then we would just reduce the fine by $450.
So then we need to change the verbiage that you're using in appeals. If you want to continue to do it down to whatever number you want, we're reducing the fine down to X and not calling it an administrative.
So we can, as a board though, create an administrative fee
You can't.
that doesn't get waived.
To me, it's just semantics and it's easier for us just to say we're reducing your fine.
Yes.
What about, honestly, when I read this, I thought, because at one point we were talking about like with ARC like an ARC consultation
Yeah, charge them, yeah.
fee.
There are a lot of communities that charge, even just for filing an ARC application, and it varies depending on what community it is, between like just a flat fee or a different fee structure based on how complicated the application is. And some of them even require, security deposits in case there's common areas that are damaged.
We don't do that.
We don't do that currently.
So what do you recommend you do though at that point, isn't it? Like, that's where I get a little bit, but we already have a top budget cycle and I think it's gonna be.
Well, no, but the other thing though, that particularly on the ARC thing, now, the idea on the covenants is to say, okay, we'll reduce your time.
We just
Then
change what we're calling it.
get the word out of the administrative fee anyway. But back to the ARC thing. I think maybe we should consider some sort of a sliding fee where it's a simple 0 fee for something like paint that's the same color. The basics. But if there's a major improvement, where we have to now pay a town architect, we pay them for their time, that we should recover some of that. Like a rebuild of a house,
Yeah.
or, a major remodel.
And Bill, I don't want to speak for you now as the ARC liaison, but.
Go ahead.
It's a slippery slope because the more complicated, so like, let's say we are talking about a rebuild, right? Those commonly already have an architect in the mix.
Mhm.
The ones that actually seeing more time goes into is actually something like a fence. Where there isn't a architect or a design expert involved, you're normally dealing directly with a fence contractor whose goal is to put the fence up. And so when you're talking about the style of the fence and everything, that's where we do rely more heavily on the consultative architect, and there's more time burned on things like that than there is on someone doing a whole, tear down, rebuild of a home.
Well, maybe this would be something that you as former ARC liaison and Bill as current ARC liaison could just sit down and say, well, here's an outline of what might make sense. And then we as a board, and because, as you said, Don, there's gonna be a tough budget coming up. We're paying Jeffrey. If this could recover some of that cost that Jeffrey spends on these more complex, whichever they are. I don't know which ones they are. I've never done the ARC thing.
Well, and I think it's not just Jeffrey either. I mean, it's also Jeffrey or
And
Tom
and
Burke
staff.
and staff, all of this stuff. And so to me, it's then, if I'm on the resident side of things, to say, well, isn't that what I'm already paying you to do? So I can see the argument both ways is the challenge. I do think that we need to figure out something. I hesitate with putting it as a fee for saying we're going to charge a resident because we're trying to help them. That's the whole point of having, Jeffrey's input is invaluable in a lot of situations when there isn't an architect in the mix. Someone is wanting to put a gazebo up, right? Normally, they're not working with a architect to put a small gazebo or small, addition onto the back of the home. And the cost for them to go hire an architect is normally more expensive than the cost of the project. So that's when Jeffrey steps in and is spending an hour or two of time, looking at that. But I think maybe we just asked a question on looking at how much time is Jeffrey spending on some of those.
But also, to me, there's like almost a question of fairness in the ARC process that, we have homeowners who have never put an ARC application in for anything. Now, this isn't like a pool, it's shared amenity. This is something that, people decide we're gonna do a big project and they apparently have a little money with which they can do that. So for them to pay just like they would pay Osceola County
Can we
for a
see
permit.
like other communities?
Yeah, I'll put something.
Grand Manors can do that, I bet.
I mean, but I mean, at some point, ARC really, and again, it's like you've got a spectrum of full rip down to doorbell camera to paint. So like, at some point, we're all paying into this, right, at the same. So I think there's a certain level of standards, and I see both sides of this, like, and I think maybe that's what it is, like, what is the standard service that we offer to residents under ARC?
And I think that having Grand Manors get involved is a great idea because it's like saying, are we one of the only communities that's giving all of these services away?
We're also the only one that's probably using town architect.
That's what I was.
So
I'd be willing to bet there.
well, so maybe we need to ask, because
Yeah.
that's our decision too. to
Yeah.
hire a different architect. So.
I don't know. It's something worth, I think, it's worth consideration with more data.
And I think too, the other side of this is that if I, as a resident, if I want to replace I think of something that's not streamlined, I want to put a bird feeder up. That's a good one. I want to put a bird feeder up, right? If I pay $20 to have that into the pot, I'm really going to expect a timely response because I paid you some money to give me something back. Right now, if there's no, it's just kind of like you put your application in and you hope the group of volunteers does it. It kind of starts to then, well, now I paid you for, well, what did I pay you for? To be able to do it. Yeah, you gotta tighten it up. And I think, there's just, I keep harping on the statistic. We average 150 ARC applications a month that are being reviewed online. I mean, it's a lot.
Is that the non-streamlined?
That's just what law comes from smart grids, and the majority are not streamlined. But even if they are streamlined, that doesn't mean that there's not staff time.
What is the average turnaround? I'm not 150.
Well, it's gotten a lot better.
Right, so.
Yeah, it's, so some of them, the streamlined ones are great, staff can do it quick, and then they fit into the box. But I mean, the more complicated ones, some are backing up beyond that 45-day window that we're supposed to respond with them. And it's
But
hard.
again, the fees might help us put staff on to help speed up that process.
Yeah.
that we can't otherwise afford. We can't put those in the budget.
I would be curious, just what other communities do.
Yeah,
What
let's find that out.
standard.
Our easier source right there.
Yeah. And one more thing, and this is, I think, feels, I've struggled for years around when do we waive things and when do we not? And so as a part of this process and exercise, can you maybe think about that? Is there some way to put more defined guidelines or, I don't know, because I struggle with that. Like when do we, and I understand it's at our discretion. But I think it would be helpful to like,
We tend to waive them if someone shows up and we don't waive them if someone doesn't.
right, but that's not.
That's not
Honestly,
exactly
from
fair.
a management perspective, the philosophy we've been working under for the last few years is if they come into compliance by the appeals meeting, we recommend waiving the fee. If they're at least substantial compliance, if they are not in compliance and are part way there, then we'll say cut it in half. And if they're still not in compliance, then our recommendation is do not waive anything.
So maybe we can do something with publishing that too, so maybe it incentivizes people too, to like, hey, I need to do this, or I'm gonna get, I'm thinking to like, just,
I mean, that's
What
an
helps us with
internal
consistency?
policy. The board
Yeah,
has
you see, the
adopted.
thing is that if we do that and we put that in writing, then everybody's gonna go, oh, well, I just went through the appeals process. I don't fix it.
well, but that's.
You know, I think it was kind of better to just have it in our pocket as a, I don't know.
I think, and so to me, that there's,
Anytime anything's absolute.
I mean, there's also been people that have come into compliance by the appeals. Meeting. It took a year and a half to get them to come into compliance and the board has not waived the fine.
right,
Maybe there's no. Yeah,
because I think, and it's also to me, I hate to say it, it is a bit of a judgment call. Like if I'm out of compliance because my mailbox needs to be painted and it just took a long time for someone to get their mailbox painted, or there was a financial hardship or something. To me, that's a little different than like the house is completely like boarded up and it took us, a year to get to it.
I think that's why
It's-
we're here though, because not everything is black and white.
Yeah.
So we do need to use our judgment, otherwise we wouldn't need a board. You
Yeah.
know, so like certain issues like
We can
that.
just have eight
appeals
items.
issue- Yeah, an appeals issue,
Although-
we need to, hear the situation and, converse and, make a decision. Sometimes they're hard decisions.
I'm, the only reason I brought it up is I'm having flashbacks of a board member that said, I'm having a good day, so I think I'm gonna wait, but. And that's the type of stuff I just don't know, hey, if we're going
It's
through
not
this
elected
exercise.
board members. Why, community, not elected. board members.
Did I say?
No, it was not you.
Oh,
It was not anyone. No one in this grant, so that's all right.
But I think it's a good point, to be able to just figure out.
Let's move on and talk about design guidelines. Design guidelines.
Well, I conferred with Bill and with Gary. And keep me on the still, but we want to get that back on track. We've kind of fallen off the radar there. And what we're proposing is the monthly meetings, joint group, ARC and Covenants, once a month. Go through the whole process. I know Don, you had concerns about Florida statutes and laws. We've gone through that. I think we're good. We're gonna sit and address that, get through the easy ones first. But the real key is getting Jeffrey Mullen involved. We've got, he's the key, he's the linchpin. As I can sure. And we gotta go back to the basics. We gotta go back to the pattern.
Nobody knows the history about it.
Right. That's the treasure we've got. And we've got to rely heavily on that and get the residents out of the business of determining architectural styles and things like that. And get the nomenclature straight. You know that Island Village, they use different terms for architecture buildings and lot sizes are different than here. So what we propose, we do the monthly meetings, get through all that with Jeffrey and board, and then Garrett will go through the whole thing and make you standardize everything, make sure it's consistent from page to page, we use the same terminology throughout the whole document, and then bring it back to the board, and hopefully it's just a rubber stamp.
That'd be great. And you know what might be great too, Don, just as you're going along with the process, as you make a major change to one portion of it, is just share that with the board at a workshop. So that then when it comes time to vote on the whole thing, we've already had micro discussions over the course of a few months about each of those items and we're all on board. Then we come to consensus, we're done.
And I'm not trying to take all the glory here, and it's a lot of glory to share. It's really, it's Bill, his arts, I'm gonna just help facilitate from covenants perspective. And one other good thing is we have a person on board that's on covenants and ARPS. So we have a bridge there. Committee.
I think that's great. That sounds like the best plan I've heard to date for this process.
So, coming to New York.
No,
Totally on.
I think it's great. I really think it's.
It's tired of this bus, but
It's very thoughtful. If the previous guy
It's
wasn't so obsessed with mulch, we wouldn't have that.
all good.
It's more mulch. More mulch solves
I
everything.
think we're all excited.
The month over it.
Getting rid of nebs. Let's talk about getting rid of nebs.
So our proposed process is we've drafted a website page with images of each of the vehicles, their year. And then we will list everything that's wrong with them, basically the assessment that we had. So every buyer, you have all the information that we have up front. And we would recommend a 30 to 45 day sealed bid process. So there would be a bid form on the website. You tell us which NED you want to bid on, how much you're willing to bid for it. Then we gather all those up. Once the bid process closed, we put that in front of the board and select who you're selling to.
How do we market? How are we gonna get the word out to the
Friday, slash Monday matters.
Okay.
All that.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
We might get good prices that way too.
Yeah.
With sealed bids.
As long as there's a lot of caveats as is. And
Oh, we got it.
Yes. Charlie, I already asked Charlie to draft a,
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, good news. Remember these guys, some of these folks here on the board came up with the idea that we should get people to name some of the rooms. I think Katie was involved with that, yeah. Turns out we've got, somebody wants to buy the rooms in their name.
So Colik, your owner's rep and project manager of this project that D'Angelo Steinman is doing the major renovations for, has reached out as part of their continued partnership with Celebration and wanting and engaged to provide a room naming sponsorship. One thing that they really wanted out of this room naming sponsorship was to be in a room where the community is making decisions or is moving things along. So they were both looking at the boardroom as well as the committee conference room. The amount that they were looking at doing was in a smaller amount than what the boardroom is listed. And so they're more interested in probably aligning with the committee conference room. But that was exciting things that they were interested in sharing. They were just looking at doing it over a 2-year payment. So they can fit it into a multi-year budgeting plan.
That makes sense. That's good.
And it might give a little more money for grass seed.
And there's only a couple more rooms left, so I mean, people.
Yeah, they're going fast.
People should jump
You
on
and
that.
Simon might want to get in there too.
So how do we proceed moving?
We'll draft the agreement and we'll put it on the board packet for approval.
Okay, and then what's the next steps to get other people excited? Our real estate partners and people in town, families, and they want to have a plaque for their name on. How do we do that?
Discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's discussion E.
That's our next
Go
one.
to that.
If we don't.
Yeah. Debbie's gonna buy the Don McDonald Memorial Room
Champion
in
England,
honor of my passing.
go wait until you pass.
So that'll be
So it
soon.
could be in the McDonald's fancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Naming rights, grand opening, ribbon cutting. Look at all those crammed together. What are we doing?
I think we should do it.
Okay.
All of it.
We
So-
have a grand opening and ribbon cutting plan.
What? Yeah, I wanna know. What is it?
You're cutting a ribbon.
I don't wanna.
One
what-
question on the grand opening before you start, just. What, there are some organizations, I think, that want to be involved. So what, should we just have them reach out to town hall and, okay. But that's what I'm
Do they wanna
trying
give us
to.
money? What is it?
I think they just wanna be part of the ceremony.
They don't wanna give us money, they just wanna be there?
I don't know. But they wanna help make it nice. They're excited. So they just, they wanna make it nice. So I said, I'm not sure what the, management is doing, but
Yeah, reach out to Nikki and Allison.
Nikki, okay, I will.
So they kind of driving man.
That's
As a
their-
solicitor fits.
Can you give us any details, dates?
Yeah, that's what I
Our
was.
goal is June 10th.
That's amazing.
June 10th. That's
Day of
like,
the week, midweek.
That's your workshop.
That's our workshop.
So the current plan is to do like an hour before the workshop is a little grand opening ceremony, and then you'll roll straight into your workshop, kind of like you do the annual meeting.
will there be snacks?
Yes.
Then Eric will be there.
I move for.
So we do, we're
She's been
making
sponsored
like
by
outreach.
Yeah, get Publix to sponsor the cheese.
We invite our different partners and people in the community that might
Is there,
be.
and is
Yeah,
there,
like you said, share this with the CJC board.
Yeah.
Our plan is to invite,
okay,
CDD leadership, Flexen, Canoa board members as well, Peggy, Terry. So yeah,
Potential people that want to sponsor a room.
Can we put
they
like,
will get personalized invites instead of a general.
well,
invite.
that's, and I think the community, like community partners are like the first wave of people that we want out, right? To, like, cause we're not gonna be able to have like.
Yeah, we can't have the whole town there. I just think we're too.
So, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit judicious about who.
So it will be an invite for at least the priest.
For the,
For the,
I think we're a little wishful
I
thinking.
think you'll be okay.
Because the annual meeting, we invite everyone.
So the,
Right.
just, and don't hold us to this, but the original, the plan we have right now is a soft opening that Monday. So front counters open that Monday, so residents will have the opportunity to come in and see the building for 2 days. And then you'll actually do your full ceremony on the 10th.
Now, might I also propose that we move the workshop back to 6:30 or 7?
Yeah.
You can, yes, so people can attend the,
That makes sense.
Any other questions, thoughts on that?
oh, we, also on this, it's somewhat akin to this topic, but not right on top of it. We would like to request to close, what's it, June 4th and 5th?
Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, Friday, so we can move and not be partially open.
Oh, yeah.
Cause we're going from 2 locations into 1 and trying to be
I think
open
that's
and
perfect.
operational and answering questions and moving is just chaotic.
Just announce it
We've done
a
it.
week in advance and.
And the Monday.
Yep.
That's
nice.
Can we, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
can we have a plaque on the rooms that haven't been designated yet? Your name here or company name here, something to get these people excited when they do the open house and say, wow.
well, we need to probably like define, because we need to figure out what that looks like too. Like, what is that sponsorship future state? 'Cause I think that's what we wanted to take a step back.
Well, I think you and Don T kind of volunteered
Yes, so
to
we-
adjust the,
I think we need to like huddle, figure out like, where do we feed to this and then bring it back to us. And I think getting into the town hall, and like seeing what it looks like and like seeing just everything come together is gonna be important.
I'm not following what, so what do you?
So we said that you and I are gonna be working on the version 2, right, of the naming rights.
Okay,
We haven't done that yet.
Right.
So I think we wanna wait.
You need to
until-
do that sooner though, because it's coming up on June 10th then.
Some of it though, if I recall, the discussion was, we agreed that it's easier for someone to sponsor someone when they actually can see the darn thing.
Yeah.
So some of it is just,
Yeah.
I think the discussion is more just being open to different amounts than what we originally had
Mhm.
talked about.
Yeah, that's what, yeah, because I was confused. From what I understand, we have a version
Yeah.
and we have a sponsor. And the way we were approaching it is, they can make an offer, and which is what we've done. So I think if version 1 is fine the way that it is, and the only thing I would say is, if someone wants to come in just the same way that Collect did, they make the offer and then we discuss it. I think this process has been good. Number 2, what I was going to say, I know Lauren had mentioned, there are some annual sponsors that we've had previously. And I think it would be beneficial to acknowledge them for their past contributions to the association. And I think there are gonna be like a special invitation sent out to them for the opening ceremony. But maybe if we are worried about capacity issues, if there's going to be kind of like a couple, like a day of previews where residents can come, maybe that's the time that maybe some of the annual sponsors could come in and take a look, and then they can discuss privately with management, similar to the way Click has done. Kind of like what they're thinking, and they can kind of like see the rooms. And I think Jacob already said they're already working on some plaque ideas as an option that they could also see them as well too.
We used to call it a sneak peek of Disney, so and you get the VIPs ahead of time for the ribbon cutting.
Mhm.
Because we want, you're very important to us, we're gonna get you in here early, you get a sneak peek, and then we can kind of sell them on the idea of the naming rights.
But I think we've priced ourselves at a point where, like, so if we have people coming to us saying, they're gonna make their offers. Like, I think we have to take a step back and realize that we haven't priced this properly.
I agree.
We are out of touch with them.
I think that, I think.
We
those
don't
are-
want, and I think this is like, right, we don't wanna like dilute our brand and dilute all of that and like just let it be a free for all, right? We need to define, and I think this is where that failed to a certain extent. We need to see, like, we shouldn't be pricing ourselves with the Gaylord Palms or pricing ourselves with the Disneys. We're a homeowners association, right? We are a homeowners association. And where do we want to tie that quantitatively and what do we want?
Can I say one thing about prison? This is, I think it's a great value for the pricing, and I'll explain why. For instance, you have annual sponsors that were paying, I don't know if I should say it, that amount's public, right? $10,000 per year to be an annual sponsor. Some of these rooms are like $30,000, right? And that's for 20 years worth of visibility. You know, all the meetings are noticed, they're getting visibility. People coming into town hall, they're getting visibility. 20 years at, you know, at minimum. So like if they want to say pay that 10,000 over a 3-year period, because they're accustomed to paying that 10,000
Sure.
annually, you know, that's way more beneficial.
Maybe it's not
having
the
the-
money, maybe it's more that term.
That's
Like,
the
I don't
thing.
think anybody wants to do a 20-year term.
Well,
Because like Khalif is committing to 2 years.
Over 2 years. And that's where I think that some of the negotiation can come in. Like if some businesses are like, you know, for, you know, not record keeping, but like accounting purposes, we want to spread this out over 3 to 5 years. That's where we have like the, again, the discretion to kind of like say yes. Some may just want to like pay it up front, and that's also beneficial to us. So I wouldn't want to like just discontinue that option either. So I think it's kind of just like a unique thing, you know, that each business is different, and some may be, you know, larger businesses, like if a company like Mattamy wanted to like just sponsor a room, then that's might be more easier for them to just pay the lump sum upfront.
I think the public should have the public's meeting.
so maybe something in between a 1 and a 2, maybe a 1.5. Like what?
Sorry, no, I was sidebarring.
So I think the market, I hear everything you're saying, but I do think, what if we sold previous to the Cali, excuse me, it was a bench, right?
Yes,
And how much was the bench?
5,000.
Okay, so, and it's been out there for what, 7 months, 8 months? October, we put it in October, I thought, no? Or
No, I
December.
think it came out in like December.
But you know, to the point though, that they were making, that Don was making, and maybe we just preview it and open it up and see what happens.
Yeah, once people see it,
And then if nobody says anything, yeah.
They're gonna get excited once they see the room, 'cause I've been
Yeah.
there, someone has been there. It's gonna be, you can't, it's hard to sell something, you know, tangible.
Yeah, but well, this is the fault I think of it before. We didn't, like, we're just throwing in it, like, it's just arbitrary numbers out there. Like, these are things that have not been pegged to actual comparable homeowners associations, comparable properties. And
I
so,
would imagine not many HOAs do this.
and that's, so if we're gonna be the guinea pig on it, so be it. But I think, again, we need to be able to
I think we
react
should.
and
So what
adjust.
if you have the open middle and open the building under this, you know, current plan? And if you're still not seeing any interest, then you pivot. I mean, because right now it's really aimed at more commercial naming in terms of businesses. But maybe you then pivot to, do we go the more community engagement route and start selling, you know, naming plaques to put a plaque wall on there, kind of like you do in athletic complexes at schools for,
Like we did with the Lex,
and then you're getting a lot more community buy-in in terms of, hey, I'm a resident, I can't afford $5,000 for events, but I can afford $50 to $200 to put my plaque on the wall. And now, see, look, every time I'm in town hall, I see my name.
Yeah, and that's more meaningful than like, you know, the room sponsored by Chick-fil-A. You know, that's really leaving like
I
a
mean,
legacy of the community.
that was kind of like the phase 2, and we were thinking bricks, but like the bricks are probably already kind of all done. So we could do like that. Yeah, so we could do like a wall, that has like, families, you know, and which I think is a nice touch for like phase 2. But again, honestly, I wouldn't go down on the price because number one, I don't know how strong the marketing has been. And number 2, I don't know, you know, I like to Don Tom's point, like once you're in the space, you know, and you're seeing it and you're understanding the value. I mean, it's great awareness that it brings to the community. I mean, every meeting that's noticed and for Heritage Hall, imagine it being like XYZ Mortgage Company, you know, being sent out throughout town. I mean, those names are gonna stick in residents' heads. So it's a ton of value. And I mean, every business does their marketing differently, but you know, this is a good way to kind of like really get to homeowners and residents and visitors. I mean,
Let's see where we get.
Let's try it for that. Let's just try it. It's not gonna hurt anything.
Are we able to do an auction or authorized to do an auction over that?
Yeah, I thought it was like an eBay.
Like an event, but we can do like an event, bring like the Celebration Foundation together, make like a real event, bring the Make-A-Wish. We put like a basic price, like $10,000 for this, $15,000 for that. Everything extra, we donate 10% for the Celebration Foundation, 20% for Make-A-Wish.
I would say maybe if there's like one at the boardroom is at the end, it's like that, you know, because that is obviously like the grand prize. And if that's not taken, maybe go that route. But since we already have someone based on these current circumstances in play, I wouldn't want
Yeah,
to.
let's just try it.
Let's do it marketing like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like we're a homeowners association.
Yeah, but let's just try it.
I know.
Give it until the opening.
We're not exactly gonna kill a grant. Like,
Yeah, I don't think
write
we're-
covenants letters.
But
and
let's-
I-
But I do some looking and so some HOAs are actually selling rooms. And they're smaller HOAs than us and they're getting about 1,000, 1,500 for a room for little HOAs. So people
So
are
there's
doing
a
it.
precedent for it. And I mean, we
$100,000.
are celebration.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, we are.
we are. You know,
But let's do, because
Let's try.
let's try it.
What are we trying? So
We're just trying to see, we're gonna invite some of the people who might be interested to come look at it early. And then see if there's any
So-
interest,
a pre,
I
pre-show.
will tell you, when you speak to someone face to face. And you tell them and they're there, that's what happened with Colette. Face to face, in the room, showing the vision, and then they're interested.
And I nominate you to do that because you're far more convincing than anyone else.
I agree.
And we'll give you a commission. No, we
No. I just honestly, the thing is, at the end of the day, this impacts homeowners' budgets.
Okay.
So
She's gonna help. All
I'm
right.
happy to help.
Yes, you know. Yeah, thank you so much for
She's gonna
volunteering.
drive.
Let's talk about the electrifying the Great Lawn.
So we've
We
had,
gotta fix it.
we've had electrical issues at the Great Lawn for many, many years. Almost every event, the breaker pops at least once, if not multiple times. Marco and Don saw it at the
The other night.
barbecue.
Yeah.
So we've been kicking this down the road for
We
maybe
need
since
an
I've
electrician
been
to come
here. Just because one, the expense that it's cost, and two, the potential master plan conversations, first the Celebration Hall endeavor, and now the master plan advisory group's report has some plans for Lakeside. But at this point, because it's impacting the events and we're doing greater events down there, we need to address
What,
it.
which
So-
electric are we talking about? The Jones Room electric? Or the-
Stage.
The stage.
Stage?
And it's honestly, it's down the parking lot as well.
Okay, 'cause
Those
it's-
top as well.
So what we probably have is some water intrusion somewhere along the way.
Or it's underpowered.
An electrician was outside last week.
What? Oh, hi there, Bill.
Hello. Some good news. We have an extremely large transformer there because we had the EV charging stations there. So the good news is there's lots of power available close by that can be run to fill that.
So why don't we just, I mean, we've hired electricians to fix other things. Why don't we just,
We're doing that now.
okay, all right.
I think the point though is that this isn't gonna be like a $500 fix. This is gonna be
No.
something.
That's ripping up.
It's extensive.
It's gonna be less than it was now because we're not using the EV chargers and we do have that lovely power station there, but
Yeah, but
yes, it's still gonna
I
be
agree,
pricey.
we need to just get it fixed.
Yeah, I will say we did tap into that and leverage that with the splash pad. That did help keep splash pad costs down because we used some of that power.
Some of the
source.
transfer.
Did the bathroom mount, there was nothing there too with the ties in with us that we could lever. So
We didn't touch anything.
there was
with that.
nothing,
One of the points in the RFP for the bathrooms was don't touch the plumbing and don't touch the electrical.
that's right.
Which is why some of the lights are off center.
That's right.
They have character.
If you have an electrician come out, and I don't know what the price is, but see about oversizing it for future uses.
That's really the main thing now, because we did have an electrician out last week. They've been checking it. They're coming back next week, looking at the panel, and really it comes down to everything's operating the way it should. It's just, we need to add more if we want to pull more.
You need 200 instead of 100. Yeah. All right, any other discussion items by anyone here of this, from this illustrious board? Bill?
You'll probably have another CCS meeting just before your board meeting, your next board meeting, because the audit was just approved, and probably to circle back on the sponsorships.
Okay. Motion to adjourn? Second? Second. Thank you all so much. Very.
Bye, Bill.
Meeting. Oh, I just signed a bunch of stuff online.